Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, we are going to be having a look at how you get started with creating your own funnel. Now, in the last video, we shared a diagram, we talked about the overview of what a funnel is and how you would go about using it, right? But now we're going to have a short video where we're going to have a look at the kind of things that you need to take on board and the kind of tools that you can use when creating your funnel. Now, the thing to point out at this point, I would guess, is that budget is obviously the biggest separating thing for people, right? Because some people will be in a position where they have got a healthy budget, meaning they've allocated like a certain amount of upfront capital that they're willing to put in to their digital marketing venture or project. And so what that means is they're going to obviously be able to use some of the higher price tools. And if you're just starting out and you don't have a budget, then there's still a number of ways that you can create a funnel or something that represents a funnel. So let's get stuck in, right? So the first thing is, to create a funnel, what you will need is a way that you can capture people's email addresses, right? Now, the simplest way to do this, right, is you will need to understand a little bit of coding, or you will need to know a web developer who can point you in the right direction, right? Or you might go on, say, Fiverr.com to get this done, right? And what it is literally you get a landing page created. So it's a HTML landing page, which literally is, however you design it is totally up to you, whether it's on brand or however much you want to put into it. But what I'm talking about here is, if you imagine this is your landing page itself, this form is the main thing, right? Now, when it comes to creating a form, by default, by the native sort of web language, when you submit a form, you can obviously program it and code it to go to a certain page afterwards, right? Or a URL. And what you want to do is you can code that very simply so that when somebody fills out these details and hits that button, even if at this point the details are incorrect, the validation side of it, so like all the messages that come up, if they've not filled it out correctly, then they are easily doable as well when you're first starting out. So you will need to know either how to do this yourself, or figure out, using YouTube videos, how to code this yourself, or you can get a web developer for cheap on Fiverr.com who can set something like this up for you, right, to get you going. And what this is something where you can then, obviously you host it, and then when people, you give them that URL of this form, and then this form is what manages your leads for you. So when a lead comes in, then obviously you've got that lead in your ecosystem, right? So you can send that lead to a particular email address, and then you can manually, whenever an email comes into a particular inbox that you've got this wired up to, you can take people who have entered into that inbox, to this form. You'll get an email. You take that email or emails that you get for these people, and then you create a manual database in Excel or something like that, right? That is the simplest and cheapest way that I know that you can get started for free, is to do it yourself in sort of that technical way, right? And then the next stage up is, there's a variety of tools that you can use that go into free tools that you can do, WordPress, and free like Contact Form 7. There's a plugin that does something very similar. But then the upfront cost would be obviously in your hosting, or maybe a web design theme, right? And then if you want to go a step further, what you can do is you can simply use tools like, you can use tools like Lead Pages, ClickFunnels, that's a popular one, but it's expensive, but it's well worth it if you've got that upfront budget, right? Because it gives you access to a variety of other tools as well, lead pages, ClickFunnels, and I'll include in the description below a link to some resources that you can use. So you'll have a link to, how to go about creating your HTML one, how to go about, if you've got some kind of a budget, what are the best tools, and I'll indicate the sort of rough prices that are involved with each of the tools. So I hope that helps you out in how to get started with thinking about, the first step of what is involved in a pipeline or a funnel. This is typically the first part that a user would see on entry to a funnel.